Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome today to Top Marques Monaco. I think this is now my 9th time visiting the car show that's held here in the Principality in the south of France, and today, making its debut at a show, is the new McLaren GT. Now this is the first time I've ever seen the latest McLaren, their Grand Tourer. We're going to head down, take a look at it, give some thoughts from a McLaren owner, what's this like, who's it going to appeal to, have a general look around the car, and then go exploring as well, because in here you've got the likes of the Aston Martin AM-RB 003, a Bugatti Chiron Sport, there's a Ferrari FXX K Evo, and plenty more new and wild creations to take a look at. So let's head straight down that way, check out the McLaren GT, and then go exploring. Here it is then, the new McLaren GT, actually making its debut here to the public with McLaren Monaco at Top Marques. The first time, of course, that I've ever seen the new car. I've not been to a press briefing, so let's go with the information that I do know about it. But McLaren's entry into a more grand touring market, and the biggest thing is the luggage space back here, over 400 litres, and clearly capable of fitting a bag of golf clubs as well back there. So it's going up against the likes of the Bentley GT, the Aston Martin DB11, the Ferrari Portofino, a new style as well. As you look around it, it's a different design, but still with many of the McLaren traits and features you expect to see. Then on the interior, new softer leathers used, bridge of weir leather from the UK, the steering wheel, you've got the aluminium inserts, also aluminium rocker paddles as well. The roof is the electrochromic glass roof, and this colour as well is called burnished copper. So let's start around the front. You've got 150 litres of luggage capacity inside the bonnet. You have the distinct headlight style with this McLaren Speedmark style shape that goes around the headlights, matching, if we come through here just so you can see it, similarly to how you have on the 720S Spider, that traditional style, but almost just the top sections of it. This is a car that's designed to cruise down the motorways, and yes, you can see I've got the key here. We'll be having a look inside in a moment. So it's a softer car, a more relaxed car, valve control system for the exhaust, first time on a McLaren. It's basically a departure where you had the 570 GT in the previous generation, now moving over to its own platform. So it uses a derivative of the carbon fibre cell, the chassis of the car as found in the 720S. The engine is a detuned version of the 4-litre twin turbocharged V8. In this car, it makes 620 horsepower and 630 newton meters of torque, which still means it's going to be very, very fast. All of that going to the rear wheels via a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. And the doors, as always with the McLaren, open upwards and outwards, as you can see here, revealing the carbon fibre chassis beneath. And we'll jump in as well later because the technology system has all been significantly updated. So just close that back down. The lovely soft close that pulls it in. Let me just show you in the luggage capacity, and I've got to work out how to do this from the key. I think if you press and hold here, there we go. Luggage space opens up. Back here, you can see just how far forwards the rear luggage area goes. That's 420 litres of extra luggage space sitting over the engine. The access to the engine is actually from beneath, from the underside of the car, as opposed to the top. But in here, you could fit quite a few pieces of luggage, and you might be thinking, how do you reach in there? Well, the seats fold forwards actually, so you can access them, that area, that way around. You've also got straps for tying down the luggage, and a very, very large glass rear canopy as well. And there is, of course, the power fold option, just to close that all back down. Where here you've got this, just need to give it a little press there. There we go, done. You've got the little lip spoiler, which is part of the aero and design, and quite a sporty Grand Touring design. Now, the one fundamental difference between this and some of its rivals is the positioning and layout of the engine. The engine is still behind the drivers as opposed to up front. That means the car is a little bit longer than previous McLarens, 4 meters 68 in length in total, but still shorter than, say, an Aston Martin DB11. In total as well. It's wearing 21-inch wheels at the rear, 20-inch at the front, and generally the design is very smooth, very sleek. Of course, you have the openings here, the side vents for cooling, additional cooling as well through the car, but underneath, around the general sides, you don't have such large openings and holes as you often see on a sportier McLaren. So it moves the GT, the 570 GT, into its own model, into a new line, into a new model series, which sits alongside others, but a departure from the sports series. GT in a name, of course a departure as well from other McLaren models, no longer referencing the amount of power that the car has. I tell you what, here is quite cool, the way you've got all of this glass to kind of help with your blind spots on the inside. Let me actually take a step inside the car so I can show you some of what we have inside here. So very careful, of course. We've got the cream with actually navy blue. All the other leather areas are navy blue around, but they've got a completely new operating system now inside the car. So the dashboard display is new. This is updated. Foot away from the brake. We're not allowed to start the car in here, but I can turn on the ignition. One press for power. Oh, we've got to watch out because the battery is running low. But the biggest thing is that this whole system has just sped up. Everything is super responsive. And of course, this is what you want in a Grand Tour. It's about your media, your comfort, your lighting, ambient lighting, for example, the different colors. And this is all set. Even here, this panel on the passenger side is actually illuminated. So I think if we set that orange, yeah, you can see it changing. Not quite sure if you can see all of that on the camera. Make it red. Go white, go blue. You can see those small details. So some design elements incorporated from the likes of the Super Series, the 720S and the 570S, 570 GT that we've seen before. The plaque there, McLaren, Surrey, England. On the early cars, they actually said Woking, England, the specific city where they're built. But then in here, just to quickly go through a few other things, you've got this tile display, which is where you have vehicle and users, but also if you want to go to navigation, let's say, I don't think I pressed that properly. Just load that up. It brings in there on the Grimaldi Forum in Monaco, just next to the Mediterranean, where we currently are. That's actually a really nice view as well. And you can hotkey, you can go to your air conditioning, climate control, or whatever it may be that you want to access. And this is all updated in comparison to the previous models. The dashboard as well has a new interface. Although you still have the rev counter in the center, you can see it only goes up to 4,000 as standard, but the car does rev up to 8,500 in total. On the left side, you've got the information. On the right, things like fuel and temperatures and the like, and all the other details. 4 air vents, 2, 1 on each side for driver and passenger. Always a small detail, but just makes it more comfortable when you're out driving and experiencing the car on the roads. I'm just going to press it off, just so we don't risk the battery going any lower than it needs to. So inside here, this is really nice, especially the colour combination and the use of aluminium for many parts, the speaker grills, the steering wheel. So this, you could have it in carbon on a 720 or as standard, but in aluminium. And the rocker, actually, that's really quite nice, it has to be said. The aluminium feel of the rocker paddles, a bit different to before. And then if you look up, take a glimpse at the roof, the electrochromic roof that we have up there. You can darken it, lighten it, set it for sun. I think maybe we need the ignition on, and it defaults to being darker to keep the car cool inside if you're parked out in the sun. But obviously using that technology for that. And then through to the rear, as you can see, you've got those great visibility lines going backwards through the B and C pillar back there, and a lot of glass going on behind us as well. And this storage space right behind the seats. So let me step back out just quickly. Still the handling and power, the handling and powertrain toggles as part of the active dynamics that you have here for adjusting your driving settings and controls and your usual drive, neutral and reverse buttons. The same switch gear actually as other McLaren models, but positioned and laid out quite differently. Cup holder here, 2 cup holders in front, and then a storage bucket there with a USB port too in the armrest. Storage wise though, no glove box. You do have a little area here where you can put your user manuals, and then each door has one of these pockets where you can store, say, a water bottle or something, and that actually stays closed. So when you open the doors and they're positioned up, they don't open and tip out and drop whatever you've put inside. Just to step out though quickly again, the door mechanism is great. You do have this slightly lower carbon tub versus the previous model. Still a carbon tub that you need to climb over, but that helps with stiffness of the chassis of the car and also with the driving dynamics as well. Just to close this door, you've got some buttons here if you want to open the bonnet, and down here is the button as well to open the rear compartments. But let's press that, open the bonnet. Maybe I'll just, no, I won't open the boot again for the moment. I'll show you how to get into it from behind. You can pull the seat forwards and you can see how you can access that space as well if you want to put some soft bags in here. So yes, it's a lot of luggage space, but it's not the easiest to access still. You know, it's not like opening a boot at the very rear of the car and then having a quite square boot with lots of space that's easy to access overall. So I think in a way, I'm a little bit confused about the car. I can see how it might appeal to new McLaren customers. No latch, just lift it up. And here you can put maybe 2 flight bags as well. Where was I? But the car is you know, at the end of the day, it's still a carbon-tubbed 4-litre twin-turbo V8 McLaren, so it still serves quite a similar purpose to many of the cars, although I'll withhold judgment until I've driven it to see what it's like, to see if it is softer, to see how it works, how it comes up alongside some of those other models. But very cool for McLaren Monaco here to have the global debut of it, the reveal, the first time it has ever been seen. Just come down to the back, so the valve-controlled exhaust tips. Yes, very interested to see the car being displayed here. And yeah, nice. Right, let's come around just really quickly to show you some of the information about it. 1530 kilo dry weight, top speed I know is 203 miles per hour, listed here 326 kilometers per hour, but still 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, 3.2 seconds. This thing is very fast, undisputably. But there we have it then, global debut for the McLaren GT. I've come straight through then to take a look at another new car making its debut here at Top Marques Monaco. Behind me with Aston Martin Monaco is the new DBS on Her Majesty's Secret Service Edition. So a special edition 50 years since the Aston Martin DBS, the 1969 DBS featured in the movie. There'll be 50 of these cars made, 50 units in total, with quite a few unique and special things about them. The first, the olive green paintwork, just like that DBS. Around the front, you have the 6 slatted grille, reminiscent of the cars of old, new wheels specifically for this as well. Around the side here, the aluminium piece, OHMSS Edition as well, found on the side of that. If we come right round towards the rear, normally the DBS would have the lettering back here, but it now has the traditional Aston Martin Wings badge with ivory for the infill instead of white as you'd normally see it, so a unique badge for this car. Also the chromed exhaust tips that you can see. And then if we come through to the interior as well, special interior for the car with the fluted leather of the seats that you can see through the inserts, the red embroideries as well, the fluted centre armrests here too, and the badge printed back there, or embroidered there in the centre as well over the subwoofer cover. So some very special unique touches, and one quite fit. Oh, I like that actually. I like the red infill for the door storage buckets. The price tag of the car, £300,007, 300,007. So that's just been launched as well. Great to be able to see the car right here. Continuing around the stand as well, this is quite interesting, a cutaway of the Rapide E. So I went out in a Rapide E, the Rapide E, for an experience around the Monaco circuit during the Formula E weekend, but here we can actually see the cutaways to see some of the electrical system going on inside. 155 of the final car being made, but you can also see the carbon tunnel for the powertrain systems and batteries going through the middle, developed by Williams Advanced Engineering, and also the 003, the AM-RB 003, Aston Martin's hypercar, the hybrid hypercar. Just look at this car. As it was presented at the Geneva Motor Show, I got to take a first look at it as well before that, but with some of the styling that we know from, say, the Valkyrie, basically being lightweight and immensely powerful, a hybrid system with the V6, creating a total of just shy of 1,000 horsepower or so, we think. You've got the exhaust tips back there as well, and look at the aero. Look down here, look at that diffuser with those carbon tunnels going all the way through. How open it is. Of course, some things will change for the final production car, but study this. Have a look straight through the car. Absolutely incredible. And in here, you will see how the seats are literally part of the tub. One of the most fascinating things about it is that your heel is actually above your bottom in the way that you're sat inside it. So you have this most incredible single-seat race car style feel and experience on the inside. Look at the displays, look at how this is all set up. Of course, this is the concept, the prototype model at the moment, as opposed to a final production car, but entirely carbon fibre everywhere, and a very good looking thing. So going to be a lucky 500 owners of these when they go into production in the years ahead, and built in England by Aston Martin, but great to see it again. Absolutely stunning and beautiful car, heavily based on aerodynamic work, of course sitting beneath the Valkyrie in the Aston Martin lineup, but still nonetheless a car that is inevitably going to be incredibly impressive and boast some immense performance figures when it does go out and all is finished. Of course also the Vantage, the mainstream Aston Martin model we could say, and alongside we also have Bentley Monaco with the Mulsanne, the number 9 edition Continental GT, and the new GT convertible as well, tucked in at the back. So the number 9, I should just add, has a few unique touches, which was introduced to celebrate 100 years of Bentley, and the Continental GT convertible, as expected, following on from the coupe luxury open top Grand Tourer as well. Seems a lot of that at this show. Grand Tourer cars to explore, even the DBS, technically a very sporty Grand Tourer, but some of the other cars that we have around, and this blue paintwork, lovely as always from Bentley. There is also a new Ford GT, looking very sleek in the black paintwork with the white stripes, and this one is wearing the carbon fibre wheels too. And amusingly, I've actually driven here to Monaco in my one of these, which is currently parked up in a garage, or we would have had two of them on display, but always very nice. And this, a completely different colour scheme and spec and style to that on my car as well. There's still a lot more of the show to see over the other side, but in front of me here, we've got some of the Ferraris, including the FXX K Evo and the 488 Pista. And before we get to that, just quickly, the red with light silver stripes on this car makes for a very nice specification, especially with the silver wheels too. But then alongside it is the simply insane Ferrari FXX K Evo. Take the LaFerrari, make the FXX K, take the FXX K, throw out the rulebook again, and make the Evo. This thing has 1,050 horsepower. Back there, you've got a 6.3 litre naturally aspirated V12 mated to a hybrid system, but because the cars run at Ferrari's XX programs and Corsa Clienti days, basically there are no regulations, there's no rule book for it, because they can do what they want, which means you end up with this thing which has, well, look at the rear wing, look at the way it curves around the back, the boomerang style, the central shark fin, and the sound that it makes as well. That noise is simply epic if you've ever heard it or seen one of my videos with them. And this particular car, the satin blue one, has run before at the Goodwood Festival of Speed up the famous hill climb. But just look, inside, pure aggressive race car with all of the aero, the design, those canards, the splitter. This thing, well, it's moderately epic in every way. Also here on the Ferrari stand, we've got the Portofino parked with the roof down. Over on this side, there's a GTC4 Lusso. And we've also got my one of those here in Monaco too. Coming through, we've got a Porsche 992, a Lamborghini Huracan Evo Spider, the yellow car, Audi e-tron tucked in at the back as well, and a couple of other stands and things going on there. I do think the Portofino looks really rather nice too. But let's continue on. A nice little pair of Brabusses, the 125R. Then we've got this electric drive in dark green, looking very lovely. On this side, the AMG GT 4-door, next to the EQC, Mercedes entry to the electric SUV market. And then tucked in back here, we have the Bugatti Chiron Sport. The sport version of the Chiron, the slightly lighter, more dynamic, more focused version of the car. And this one, in the all-silver exterior, the monotone as opposed to being dual tone, looks rather nice as well, but still with the quad turbo 8 litre W16. Yes, those numbers are all truly ridiculous. So we've gone from one extreme with the FXX K Evo to the ultimate in luxury hypercar, I think you can say, with the Chiron Sport, cementing its space now really and truly in the hypercar market. And in this case, looking very nice while it does it. To continue around a few more of the highlights then, Brabus have released the 800 version of the AMG GT 4-door. Yes, 800 does mean that this car has 800 horsepower. Also, their visual upgrades you'd expect to find, like the carbon fibre front splitter, the surrounds for the intakes, the new wheels. But this car, pretty good way to get around with extra passengers, luggage capacity at the back, the carbon diffuser, the new exhaust system as well. And as always, showing some of their classics too, the 300 SL. I have a big soft spot for these, as many of you know, fully restored, having driven one on the Mille Miglia. I think that's probably my dream classic car, so to speak. Over this side, we've got the luxurious Quant, 4 seats back there, the full gull-wing doors as well on that. They open up so that you even get into the rear through the gull-wing. Brabus have also shown the Shadow, 800 horsepower version of the G63, the aggression of that carbon fibre bonnet, the light bar up there at the very top. This thing just looks mean. Not all that long until my G63 arrives as well. Cannot wait for that. To go around this way from Classen, have a look at this van. This is really quite cool as well. Inside, they completely refit the cars. A few modifications to the exterior. Back here, a ginormous television, and also pretty comfortable seats. What a way to get around in discreet style. Nobody would know from the exterior that that's what's going on inside the car. Over this side, this is a bit of an unusual off-roader. Look at that. Look at the wheels at the rear and the suspension travel that the car has. Or the buggy, or the quadron, or I'm not quite sure what you call it, but it looks very fun nonetheless. From Shelby, F-150, 755 horsepower truck, Recreation GT40, also a Cobra just alongside it. But you get the point. There are some pretty interesting cars going on in here. I'm going to whiz back towards the other side though, just to see what else is over this way. Starting with the car right here, and I say car quite loosely because you will notice it resembles much more like a Formula 1 car. Well, this is from Zacaria, and it's introduced with the intention of bringing an F1 car to the road, to be road legalized. Yes, you heard that right. The power plant back here is sourced from the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, so it's a 6.3 litre naturally aspirated V12, which in stock form would already make 740 horsepower. This, well, potentially it could be 800, who knows, even more. But basically, the idea is that you could drive this on the road. Now, things have had to change to make that possible. For example, the wheels are enclosed, as you will see. There is also rollover protection for the single-seater occupant between the high point and the front of the canopy. And around the front, you will also notice we've got some headlights. And also, the car has a lift system that can raise it 100 millimeters if that splitter is going to be a touch too low to get it over a bump. But could you imagine driving this with a number plate on it? I'm not quite sure where exactly you would stick it. Maybe they need to put a bracket on the back of the car here, but a pretty straight through exhaust system, a very exposed car, and what an aspiration to make a Formula 1 car go out on the road. All the best to them. Good luck with it. I would love to see that actually happen, and I can only imagine what it's going to sound like. This is the Pur Italia, a hybrid hypercar, 965 horsepower from electrical assistance plus a supercharged V8. Also makes 1,248 Newton meters of torque. The car was presented at the Geneva Motor Show. We can take a quick look as well at the interior here. You can see the digital screens of it, the carbon everywhere, carbon tub around the base, and also check out up on the roof. The key goes in there to start it up and fire it into life. Very, very cool to see that. Hybrid, well, nearly, yeah, as you can see there, nearly 1,000 horsepower out of this. Released at the Geneva Motor Show, presented again here at Top Marques. To come back around then, the McLaren GT making its debut here at Top Marques Monaco. The first opportunity as well for me to see the car in person, to show you around, talk about it, to think a little bit more about where this sits in McLaren's lineup. So where before there was the Sport Series, the Super Series and the Ultimate Series, you now have the GT sitting alongside those as well. A bit of a departure from the previous style with the 570S and the 570 GT being more or less the same base of car, as you could say. In this case, this is now its own distinct model line, and seeing it with the lights illuminated as well, the LED strip lights that you have around the rear, I really like the shape of that, the way it cuts in at the back underneath that lip spoiler. But the big talking point is this, the extra luggage space around the back, and in this case with the British Bulldog golf bag inside there too, with the clubs as well, I should add. And I think you can fit 2 golf bags as well as some additional luggage, and that's what the car has been launched to do, to introduce a new segment for McLaren, a new customer base, going more at that GT style like the Bentley Continental GT and the Aston DB11 and cars like that. My thoughts though? Perhaps it's just a little bit too much, too many cars that are ultimately very, very similar. The 720 is already a fantastic Grand Tourer. The ride from that car's suspension, also pretty practical as well. Obviously you've got the space in the front, this being the Spider loses a little, but the rear has storage space underneath the hatch at the back. Maybe it doesn't fit some golf clubs, but it fits plenty of luggage to go on a road trip. So one could say these are all cars with similar engine setups, similar carbon fibre tubs, similar purposes. Yes, I see a little bit that it fulfills a slightly new niche, but you can probably see where I'm coming from, that they are all very similar cars, lots of models, and also quite a confusing naming system that this doesn't wear, say, 620 GT or something like that, being called the McLaren GT, a very different car to the Ford GT, which wears, of course, the same name. So your thoughts down below, what do you think about the new McLaren GT? For now though, it's been a great year visiting Top Marques, my 9th year, my 9th visit to the show. Fantastic to again be a partner of the show, creating content and enjoying being here. So thank you very much for watching. As always guys, that's it for now though. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!